Terrible parents seem to make some terrible kids, but obviously not all the time. Now, if your kid did what OP's kid did in this first instance, what would you do? G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole. Now if you love today's bloody good story, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Let's go. Am I the arsehole for not letting my daughter wear an expensive dress to my sister's house? Hi all. Me, my husband and our 15-year-old daughter Georgia went to my sister's place for lunch this weekend. Georgia is very bright. She completed her exams early and is now studying more advanced material. She's a big fashionista, a lot more than I was at her age. She loves pretty clothes and outfits, and we're happy to get her as much as we can, provided she behaves well and keeps up the good grades. The lunch with my sister was fairly casual, but Georgia wore her new pink dress. My sister isn't as well off as we are, unfortunately, and she's raising 3 children on her own, and her job isn't a high-paying one. In the past, she asked me if Georgia could tone down her outfits when we come to visit, because she doesn't want her kids being upset because they can't afford things like that. I do get my sister's point, but it's not down to me to police what Georgia wears. I have spoken to Georgia about it, but I left the final decision to her. Anyway, so we went for lunch and Georgia ended up getting into an argument when my sister's 13-year-old Lucy asked about the dress and where it was from. Georgia answered that it didn't matter because Lucy couldn't afford it anyway. We told Georgia to shut up as soon as the comment left her lips, but it soon ended up with Georgia and Lucy screaming at each other. My sister made the kids vanilla milkshakes, and Lucy decided to throw hers all over Georgia, ruining the dress. Georgia burst into tears, and to be fair, my sister did bring her a change of clothes. I said that if the dress was permanently ruined, I wanted my sister to reimburse us. My sister has refused and said that it was our responsibility because my daughter wore an expensive dress despite being warned not to. That dress cost a couple $100, and washing it has failed to completely remove the stains. Frankly, I don't care about my sister's warnings. We can't make Georgia wear what she doesn't want to, and it's not our problem that she can't control her child and stop her ruining a beautiful dress. Am I the arsehole? Now in the comments, BowBowXO says, "You're the arsehole. Normally I would say otherwise due to property being damaged, but not in this case. 1. You've already mentioned that your sister is not well off and struggles to provide for her 3 kids. 2. What your daughter said was extremely rude and a reflection of your parenting. She most definitely deserved to have a vanilla milkshake thrown at her for saying such a rude thing. Take it to the dry cleaners and go get it professionally cleaned. Be happy it was vanilla and not chocolate. Maybe this will teach your daughter to be a lot more humble." See also, we told Georgia to shut up as soon as the comment left her lips. I would be very interested to hear the nature of the conversation OP had with Georgia regarding her cousin's financial situation that led her to believe that this would be an appropriate response. If I were your sister, I would not be reimbursing for the dress. Consider it a teaching moment and teach your daughter how to behave in company. I agree that Georgia has probably picked up her parents' true views about her sister's family situation. She's just not prepared to be patronizingly magnanimous about it because she's a teenager. I do feel sorry for Lucy though. All she did was ask about the dress, and probably just as conversation. I'm sure she's not oblivious to her family's financial situation, but that doesn't mean she was trying to stir up trouble. Really, this seems to be about 2 mothers and the resentment over each other's financial situations. Everyone sucks here. I agree that everyone sucks here. This sounds like a long-time rivalry between the siblings that is being passed to the next generation. Everyone here needs to get their crap together. Both kids are being dragged into a long-standing issue that has nothing to do with them, and that's just wrong. My daughter is the same age. No frickin' way would she ever frickin' say that. Or if they did, the cousin wouldn't have a chance to throw a milkshake on my daughter because we'd be out of there so fast her head would be spinning. That is the last time that girl would get an expensive dress. I'd make her give half her closet to her cousin for that crap. Whoa, definitely a you're the arsehole to OP, because you are teaching your kid to be an entitled arsehole herself. Everyone sucks here. Look, a giant hypocrite. Let's get this out of the way first. Of course, the milkshake thing was not justified and makes the other girl an asshole, which is why this gets into the category of everybody sucking, but 1. Why is it that you protest you can't control Georgia, but expect your sister to be able to control her daughter's behavior? Seems like either teenagers are uncontrollable or they aren't, and your stance is wholly hypocritical. 2. Feels like a good teaching moment for Georgia. You say she gets nice clothes as long as she gets good grades and behaves right. Well, the classist bullcrap she talked to her cousin is not behaving. Therefore, she has one less nice dress based on your agreement. And Anakari says, you're the asshole. If Georgia receives any offers to tour a chocolate factory, I highly recommend you decline. Our next post is by user FinalCheesecake146, titled, Am I the asshole for ruining a pregnancy announcement by telling the woman she may have taken the wrong test? My husband and I, 30 male, 30 female, recently invited 8 friends for lunch and were asked if we could also include a new couple, Doug and Sasha, both in their 30s. We have never met them, but everyone who was invited has, so we said sure. At one point, Sasha needed to use the restroom, and I told her to use the master since the other bathroom was occupied. I was helping my husband finish with food when Sasha came out of the master bawling and holding something in her hands. At first I thought she hurt herself, but she said something to Doug that caused him to drop to his knees, cry, and begin kissing her stomach. All of our friends began screaming, jumping, and crying. It was insane. Finally, Sasha tells my husband and I that she is pregnant. Of course, we congratulate both she and Doug and gave them a bag for the test, which was their request. I will admit I did find it odd that she bought a pregnancy test and took it at a complete stranger's house, but I did not say that. Once everyone sat down to eat, Sasha said, Opie, I hope you don't mind that I used one of your pregnancy tests. I just saw them and had to. I responded, confused, that I don't have pregnancy tests. She says, yes, in your drawer. I asked Sasha if she meant the blue box in the back of my lower left drawer that was closed. She seemed to realize I was pointing out that she basically snooped and sheepishly said the box said pregnancy for pregnancy test. I said, Sasha, the brand is Pregmate, and those are ovulation tests. I do not own pregnancy tests. Did you take an ovulation test? Doug freaked the absolute F out at me, saying his wife was not an idiot and can read a box. He insisted Sasha get the test out and show me that I'm wrong. Sasha refused, saying that she didn't need to prove anything to a complete stranger, and insisted they leave immediately. One of the couples thought Doug and Sasha acted ridiculous. The other 3 couples thought that I should have pulled Sasha aside to discuss my concerns, and said I was an asshole for saying something in front of everyone. Honestly, the whole situation caught me off guard and everything happened so quickly. The whole thing was bizarre and confusing, and I just didn't have time to put the pieces together mentally before asking about the ovulation tests. Also, I found out later through one of our friends that Sasha did take an ovulation test and she is not pregnant. I feel like this is on her. She went snooping through your drawers and she took something that she's not supposed to, way at the back of the drawers. She knows that she's in the wrong for this situation, that's why she tried to get out so fast. I don't think you did anything morally questionable in this situation. You literally just did what any sane person would do. So I'm gonna say not the asshole for you. Now in the comments, VXGB111 says, not the asshole. I mean, who the hell goes through another person's drawers and takes any kind of test? It's her comeuppance to have taken the wrong test and embarrassed herself. Serves her right. The only situation I could understand is if she unexpectedly started her period and had nothing on her. Literally the only acceptable situation to go through a stranger's bathroom drawers. This is insane, to snoop through someone's stuff, then take something, admit to it, then get mad that you took the wrong thing and throw a tantrum. I'm surprised OP's friends aren't calling Sasha out for snooping, but calling out OP when OP wanted clarification for what the hell Sasha had used for her test. Also, Sasha sounds attention-seeking because she saw the box and decided to announce her pregnancy to everyone at a stranger's house who she never met. This pregnancy box belongs to a complete stranger, whom of which I just met today. I think I'll use it, and if I'm pregnant, I'll tell everyone at this stranger's party. OP, you held your cool fairly well considering she snooped. You could have interrogated her more as to why she snooped, called her out, and then dropped the bomb that it wasn't a pregnancy test, and that you were willing to go hunt for the box to prove it outright, then letting her have a choice to show her own idiocy. Also, don't they cost a bit? I mean, pregnancy tests aren't the most expensive, but they aren't the cheapest here. She went through a stranger's drawers, saw a tester for pregnant, mistakenly, and didn't bring up reimbursement or didn't think the person who it belongs to probably was going to use it? Or did she try to one-up her beforehand? Not the arsehole. Who the hell snoops around a bathroom and decides to take a pregnancy test with someone else's supplies in the first place? Honestly, I think that obnoxious snoop got precisely what she deserved when you told her what she'd actually done. Sounds like Doug and Sasha don't belong on anyone's guest list. Yeah, what? Also, ovulation tests are not cheap. I would be furious with her. Who cares about her feelings when she's rifling through your things and stealing them? Absolutely bizarre and unacceptable behavior. Our next post is by user Late Night Falls, titled, "Am I the asshole for not accommodating my brother-in-law during my birthday dinner and telling him his taste wasn't my priority? I, 26 female, recently had a birthday. Some family and I went out to dinner to celebrate. The guests were me, my husband, my parents, his parents, my 2 brothers and sister, and my husband's brother. So here's the deal. My brother-in-law is weird about eating out. He'll only order a burger or fries and chicken nuggets in a food place, no matter how fancy, no matter how much choice there is. He goes so far as not even looking at menus in places, and will ask for nuggets and fries by default, and will be very difficult if a place doesn't have those on the menu. I know this, but I won't accommodate it when it comes to something I'm supposed to enjoy. When my husband and I were discussing the dinner, I told him to let his brother know they didn't do burgers and fries at this place. Cool. He still says he's showing up. The dinner arrives and everybody's looking at the menu except him. He waits, and when we're all ordering, he asks the server for fries and nuggets. He explains they don't have those, and then my brother-in-law asks about a burger. They don't do those either. He asks could they make up some fries just for him, and the server explains they can't accommodate those. He starts sulking, and my husband makes apologies and said they'll get the final order to them ASAP. Brother-in-law goes off about how crappy it was I didn't think of him with dinner, and we should have made sure there was something for him to eat. I pointed out he was told and he chose to come, that it was not my job to accommodate for his pickiness when eating out, and that his taste was not a priority during my birthday dinner. Brother-in-law calls me a selfish asshole and walks off. My brother-in-law tries to excuse his outburst that he's hungry, while my father-in-law can't stop apologizing. My husband confronted his brother after. His brother said he was still pissed at me, and my brother said we were the ones pissed and he made a scene during my birthday dinner. Their mum is saying I could have been more accommodating, and it's only fair to consider guests when inviting them out. On one hand, I'm annoyed that he acted that way, but on the other, I don't want to cause any trouble between us and my husband's family. Am I the asshole? No, I just think he's acting like a big baby. He was told that there's not going to be chips and there's not going to be burgers, so if you don't want to come, you don't come. You get what you get and you don't cause a fit. If he's going to have such a limited variety of things to eat, just asking for nuggets or fries by default, Jesus. Just leave and go to McDonald's or something, because you obviously don't want to be somewhere that serves real food. I'm gonna go not the asshole for this one. He sounds like a big baby, and I don't envy having a limited diet like that, unless there's a medical reason. Now in the comments, not the asshole. I mean, he knew about this beforehand. He still chose to come knowing that he wouldn't be able to get what he ordered. Tell him to go to McDonald's for his chicken nuggets. And edit to add, it was your birthday as well, and he made a scene. I would not be accommodating to someone like this regardless. Right? My 8-year-old is a picky eater, and I'd still expect him to behave better than this. My 4-year-old is picky, and if he created a scene like this, I wouldn't be taking him anywhere again. Yes, Actually, OP says further down that it was an Indian restaurant. I took my son with me to a nicer Indian restaurant just before the pandemic. He had plain rice, some naan, and a few pieces of chicken. We talked about it beforehand so we knew what to expect, and he had a big snack at home first. No big deal. I'm going to go ahead and assume your brother-in-law is a grown-ass adult. As a grown-ass adult, he should not be throwing tantrums in restaurants and expecting other people to tolerate this kind of bullcrap. If you have a toddler, you choose restaurants that are toddler-friendly to make your dinner, as well as that of other diners, reasonably pleasant. When your entire guest list is adults, you, as the birthday girl, get to eat where you want, not where your adult brother-in-law can enjoy toddler food. You should be annoyed that he decided to make himself the center of attention after having been fairly warned and choosing to ignore the warning about what his meal choices would not include. 100% not the asshole. And brother-in-law was told about the venue. This is the piece that gets me. I read one of the comments above that he knew it was an Indian restaurant. I mean, you have to be living in the back of the beyond to know that beef is a huge no-no in Indian food in general, unless you come from some niche communities down south in India. And seriously, who expects to go to any restaurant and expect burgers, nuggets, and fries? Does brother-in-law ever eat out at all? You left out the best part. How old is brother-in-law? And OP replies, 30. That changes everything. Your 30-year-old brother-in-law still needs his kiddie meal in every restaurant he goes to, no matter what. Our next post is by user The Missing Sock 1, titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my husband he needs to start taking his own vehicle to his family's functions? Today was the day I decided I am no longer driving with my husband to his family functions, parties, and events. Today was his cousin's 36th birthday party, and she sent a group text inviting everyone. Party started at 4, and we arrived at 4:15. We have a baby who is a few months shy of turning 2. With that being said, she typically starts winding down for bed at around 6:30 p.m. We're in bed by 7:30 p.m. and she's out around 8 p.m. My husband is in the military and he's been home for about a month now from training in school. So he's not used to our routine, but he's in the know as I'm the one that does all of the bedtime routine. Dinner and snack, bath, diaper and pajamas, and nursing to sleep. My husband has never wanted to partake in doing this as he thinks it is too much work. So he's usually watching TV and will come to tuck us in right before I put our baby to sleep. Around 6:30, I told my husband that we would have to start getting ready to leave for bedtime. He refused and said we needed to stay for at least 4 hours. 8:30 rolls around and he's still not ready to leave. Baby is tired, she is crying, and she's nursing, which also upsets husband. Baby is clearly ready to go home. My husband then proceeds to tell me that I can find a ride home. I text a friend, but she's unable to pick us up as her husband works overnights and her 2 babies just fell asleep, so she can't leave them. I then tell my husband he needs to find a ride home and I'm driving my car home. I say goodbye to everyone and let them know it's past bedtime, so we need to get going. Husband walks me to my car, and as I'm getting in the car and we're away from the party, he tells me I'm an asshole for ditching him and leaving him to find a ride home. Am I the asshole for ditching my husband and forcing him to find a ride home? Now in the comments, Tamin O says, "Not the asshole. What in the... Honey, you've got bigger problems there than just a car." And OP replies, "Oh yes, I really do." I have several friends who are, or mostly we are, military spouses. There is a huge issue with some men who come back from deployment to their families that there isn't a lot of help for. Being deployed is basically living a very hectic and stressful bachelor life. You bond with your brothers and sisters in arms. You work hard, and your free time is your own. And it's hard to adjust to family men when they come home. My coworker and her husband have been married 35 years, but his return from his second deployment after kids almost ended their marriage. After the second or third time in the week that he didn't come home to play cards or grab a drink with the boys from work, she sat him down calmly the next day and said she signed on to be a single parent when he was deployed, but not when he was home. So, if he wanted to keep his family intact, he needed to be a family when he was home. It probably helped that she was military too until their kids were born, so she knew how to speak to him. Good luck, Mama. I hope he figures out how to be a partner and a father when he's home. Your coworker is cool, and I agree completely. Most of my family is either active or former military. Varying branches, everyone wants to do their own thing, and it's hard for them to adjust after deployment. It's hard for the ones who get to bring their families to their assignments too. But OP's husband hasn't even been deployed yet. He was just a month out of basic and hasn't learned what hard really is. Yet he's already checked out on his family and decided to do the bare minimum as a father and nothing as a husband. Even telling her she can find her own ride home just so the baby can go to bed. He might make a career of the military, but he won't be a family man for long at this rate. Not the asshole. The obvious issue is that your husband was not ready to be a father, but now here he is, with a child he's unwilling to care for appropriately. And OP replies, "This is what it feels like. He's 33 though. I'm 30. We have responsibilities now. Although my daughter is my priority, I find that my husband's priorities are not the same as mine. Some people just never grow up, regardless of their actual age. Were you guys on the same page about wanting to have kids prior to having them? Did you have a conversation about how the work would be divided and how the family would function as a whole? Your husband is being a huge ass. But I'm also curious about if you both knew the responsibility you were taking on when deciding to have kids. In a perfect world, he would just grow up and operate based on what the child needs. But that seems like wishful thinking." Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.